Major General James ALILU ATAGUBA first was a civilian before becoming an army officer who rose through the ranks to the peak of his career. From a humble background, whose life in the primary and secondary school was like any other person, young James only dreamed to become a medical doctor, at best a pharmacist. But events took another dimension in his life journey.
My name is Major General James ALILU ATAGUBA from Okenya in Igalamela, Odoro local government area of Kogi State. In primary and secondary school, I was like every other student. And I must tell you, my dream was to be a medical doctor and worst case scenario, a pharmacist. Nothing more, nothing less. And that's why I said my venturing into the military was pure calling.
Many people take to life career or venture for different reasons. The bottom line is for survival. But to young James ATAGUBA, he says venturing into the military was a calling even before his name was out. He knew he's already in the Nigerian Defense Academy.
I knew absolutely nothing about the military. In fact, the call was routed through a friend of mine who also eventually made a major general. We were in School of Basic Studies, Makurdi. I was standing under a shade one evening when he walked up to me and he said, "Oh, my good friend, there's a form, Nigerian Defense Academy form, that has just come out. Why don't you try it?" And I almost got upset with him. And I told him, "Why are you telling me about school? Am I not in one school? Have I finished from here? I don't know about the stuff you're talking about, but I think I'm contented being where I am." And he still went ahead to say, "Look, this is one school where you will not pay school fees. Rather, you will be paid at the end of every month. You will be fed. You will be clothed." And I couldn't believe there's a place in this whole country that such can be gotten. And I say, if what you're saying is true, then that is the place to be. And I harassed my sister of blessed memory until I got the money for the form. Even though she was so afraid. And she said, "Look, do you know what you are getting yourself into?" And I told her, "I think that is the best place for me." I said, "How do you guarantee that you get there?" I say, "I sure will." And by the time I got to the venue where they were writing the exam, the sea of heads I saw is enough to discourage, especially when I was told that they needed only 10 people. But I told myself, they can be 5,000, but I'm definitely going to be among these 10 people. And so I wrote the exam, and I went home and told my sister I had passed. And she said, "Have your papers been marked?" I said, "No, but I know I have passed." And after that, the list came out. I was among the 50 that were shortlisted. And we went for the interview. When I finished from the interview, it was a 2 weeks interview. From medicals 1 week, then other activities before you see the board. The board is the last phase of the interview. The minute I came out of because I was the first to go in for the interview to see the board, immediately I came out, I saw my colleagues where they were sitting down, and I told them, "Gentlemen, I've taken the first slot. You can fight for the remaining 9. And on getting back to Makurdi from Kaduna, I went straight to my sister and I was celebrating. She said, "How?" I said, "I've been selected." I said, "Did they call the result before you left?" I said, "No, I just know I have been selected." And the rest, they say, is history.
At the Nigerian Defense Academy, no dull moment for those with feeble hearts. It is an academy for people who are determined to succeed. Failure is not an option.
I must confess to you, academy is a tough nut to crack. You will be broken down completely. It will take the special grace of God for you to survive. But because of the belief that I was called, I had no doubt that no matter what, I will survive. And moreover, I asked myself, if you run from here, you left the school to come here, where else are you going to? Which other school? So, NDA was my last bus stop. And I told myself, I'm going to give it my best shot. And I did give it my best shot.
In a life journey experience, it has shown that one is destined to come across people at different levels. General James ATAGUBA also had his experience in the line of duties.
I will tell you, every single moment in academy was memorable. In my first year, the first 3 months, there's what we call inter-house competition. But ours is battalion. So every year, a battalion emerges as champion battalion. So my battalion was champion battalion when we came in for 3 months, but we lost it. And from then till our 4th year, we never won the championship.
Why?
Well, we were not competing enough until I became the battalion senior under officer, what you call a house captain, in my 5th year. And I told my God and I told my mates, we cannot leave academy without winning this championship. We will give our all. I mean, if it means me sacrificing any of my mates, I will not think twice about it. And you will not believe it. We won the championship for the first time in as many as 4 years. And to top it up, I also emerged amongst the best. I was actually the 2nd best from the army that graduated that year. So I had all my dreams fulfilled before leaving NDA.
What I describe as upbringing. This is a thoroughbred from home. He has all it takes as a person to succeed in any endeavor. Very diligent and inquisitive, positively inquisitive, to the extent that he learns and applies his knowledge. James is a professional and a man with impeccable integrity.
Yes, General ATAGUBA, in fact, is someone that is passionate. Whatever he set his mind on, whatever task he set his mind to do, he puts in his best. He puts in all he commits everything he has. Whatever he decides his mind to do, he puts in all he has. He's a great achiever. He's a leader. You know, I'm not surprised. You know, judging from our background, our military training, leadership is part of our training, management. So he's a very disciplined person, which is you know, is above the normal average military discipline. He's someone that insists on discipline, not even the military, generally. He has that passion to see that the right thing is done.
There is nothing that propels a citizen to become a darling of every right-thinking person than being an honest and truthful person. You don't need to stay long with General ATAGUBA to know clearly that this is a very truthful, sincere, compassionate individual, that at times you begin to wonder whether in the army you can find the likes of ATAGUBA. I'm not condemning the army, I mean with unique characters, you know, of his own. So I'm not surprised that he rose to the level of a general. And I used to joke with him and say, the chief of army staff that never was, because I am sure this country will have benefited immensely if the likes of General ATAGUBA have been given the opportunity to serve this country in that capacity. The reason being that he is a soldier, respectful, disciplined, and uniquely compassionate.
General ATAGUBA and I seems to have so many things in common. One, when you see General ATAGUBA, you won't believe he's a soldier. He's so kind, he's so humble, he's not given to the propensity of arrogance of military people, trying to force people around. He's a man that has peculiar propensities for integrity. Having been in charge of the army as chief of army standard and evaluation, then to chief of armed forces, covering the entire armed forces, one was expecting a stupendous, wealthy general with an unexplained wealth. But that's not General ATAGUBA. General ATAGUBA, when he was in the military, was like the refined EFCC. And I use the word refined because General ATAGUBA was not given to these propensities of primitive acquisition of wealth. And I thank God that he retired. No scandal, no story, and I never had him being promoted on the basis of who he knows. It's on the basis of what he knew.
My husband is a very caring man. He's my friend. He's a father that everyone will wish to have. My husband is caring. Though we had our own challenges, as it is with every other marriage, but like I said, with the help of God and the Holy Spirit, we're able to navigate through all those curves.
I don't know what kind of words to use to describe him, but to me, he's a gift to humanity. I can't say to me, to myself alone, but to humanity. He's a man with a very large heart. Not just large, filled with love, pure love. You know, when you talk about love, there are categories of love, but his is pure. If he's not going to do something, he's not going to do it. He won't do it because he wants to please you. No, he won't do that.
James, as I fondly call him, and is also known to every member of his course as somebody they call the proper thing. You know, in the army, in the Defense Academy, for some of us, there's nothing like the low-hanging fruit. Whatever you attain, whatever level you attain must be by sheer hard work. And that was what James is known for up till this moment. There's nothing like it cannot be done. You cannot tell James how it cannot be done or it is not possible. There's no impossibility as far as he's concerned.
Of course. The truth is I have very few circle of friends because of my strict adherence to the rules of NDA. To start with, I had virtually no one to visit in Kaduna. So no matter the public holidays we had, I was always in academy. That's what we call away, you know, without taking pass. I never, for 5 years, went on a wall.
And so I had good friends. One is Major General Atu. We all retired together last year. Another is Major General Durowai, who happens to be around me virtually every time. We are like twins from different mothers. And I had other very close friends that I wouldn't want to mention, virtually all of them here. But the truth is that my circle of friends were very, very few. Well, it may interest you. I tell my colleagues and friends, they find it difficult to believe. From when I was commissioned till when I left service, I have never met anyone to influence my posting, because it's against my belief. What God cannot do for me, no man on earth can do for me. And I don't believe there's any posting that is lucrative and one that is not. You are the one that makes it either lucrative or non-lucrative. And so, every single appointment I have had, when I'm living there, the world stands still because of what I would have turned it to. Is it from my command in Ondo State, where I left with 5 awards, one specifically from the governor of the state? Or is it Martin Luther Agwai, where all the accreditation had lapsed and I got 2 for them before I left within my short stay? Or is it as Chief of Army Standard and Evaluation, where the department for the first time became the flag battalion department? So anywhere I go to, my aim is to turn things around positively, and that I have always done.
After the rigorous 5 years training at the academy, young ATAGUBA graduated and was commissioned second lieutenant into the Nigerian Army, and his first litmus test was to be assigned to crisis area, and his military journey experience began.
Well, I must tell you, my tour of duty in the military was very, very tough. Extremely tough. I passed out in 91. By 92, I was already in Liberia. I got back 93. By 94, I was back to Sierra Leone. I was in Sierra Leone for 4 years before returning back to the country. And after another 2 years or thereabout, I was back to Bakassi. So most of the time I was on operations. And when I'm not on operations, I'm on other international engagement. For instance, from 2003 to 2004, I was in Sierra Leone to mentor their troops. We had this International Military Advisory Training Team, IMAT. 95% were Britons, only just 5% were Nigerians, and we're just 4. Then again, I was also in Liberia from 2007 to 2008. That is the United Nations United Nations mission in Liberia, UNMIL. I was there initially as the Deputy Chief of Operations, and then after 5 months, I became the Chief of Joint Operations Center. My activities as Chief of Joint Operations Center earned me an employment in the United Nations in New York from 2008 to 2013. So for 5 years, I was in the United Nations headquarters in New York. Unbroken years. It is rare you see that happening. Normally the tour of duty is for 4 years. But like I said, my foray into the military was a calling, and every bit of my stay in the military before I left was guided by God.
For any successful man, look behind him. There stands a determined and prayerful wife. In his own case, he was not married, as he was in the war front and coming back to the country traumatized.
The luck I had was that my first tour of duty in Liberia and Sierra Leone, I was still very single. And so Madam didn't feel the pains of those period of absence, because you can imagine being away for 4 years, no social media, no forms of communication. I can imagine my colleagues who were married then. And so I feel sad, very sad, when I see the military not being appreciated by the citizenry. Because these are people, some of us from that mission who came back and there was no family to come back to. Some came back in a casket. Some were mutilated. In fact, when I returned from Sierra Leone, I was in another world entirely. In a different world, because I was traumatized because of what I saw. Limbs being mangled. All sorts of things that ordinarily you can't imagine.
A deliberate question was asked General James ATAGUBA if he had ever killed anybody, being one who is trained to kill.
It's funny when I hear a soldier being asked, have you ever killed? We are trained to kill, not extrajudicially, but to kill as directed by the states, as guided by the state. If I must tell you the first experience I had to end someone's life, it was when, as a lieutenant in Benin, I was asked to shoot 3 armed robbers, 2 from the same mother. And when I got to the firing ground, they were pleading. And I told them, you had all the opportunity in the world to have pleaded with the judge. The judgment has been delivered. Mine is to execute. I have no mercy to spare here. And I carried my duty, carried it out effectively.
A trained and disciplined professional soldier he is. General James ATAGUBA is from the Ghana Corps. Hear of what the Gunners do.
I am from the Corps we call the Proud Professionals, the Ghana Corps, that is the artillery. And when we do things, we do it with a bigger bank.
We went to the same department, that's artillery corps. So that one has further solidify our relationship, our friendship. I entered through Kwara State, he entered through the army, he entered the army through Benue State. Later, we came together to Kogi State. I'm from Kogi West, he's from Kogi East.
We belonged to the Corps of Artillery, Nigerian Army Corps of Artillery. And hence, he had served under me for quite a while, different scenarios. And the last one being in the UN itself, in New York. We started from Liberia, the UN, and then he got appointed to an office in UN headquarters.
For over 30 years, Major General James ALILU ATAGUBA served his country well, appointed into different positions, and was honored and decorated with different service medals. All of these achievements come with pressures and regrets. But when asked if he has any regrets in his military career.
Any regrets? I'll tell you, absolutely none. Given the opportunity, I'll do it over and over and over again. I enjoyed myself thoroughly in the military, because if you're a professional, every aspect, your day-to-day in the army, you enjoy it.
He is retired and not tired. back to civil life. How prepared was he for his retirement? And what does the future hold for him?
I had always been prepared. Not in the way a man will say is prepared, as in the amount of money you have in your bank account, the number of vehicles you have. No, that's not my idea of preparation. I have always, just like being prepared for death, I'm always prepared because I'm not scared of anything. One day I came into the world and one day I must leave. So why should I live in the shadow of fear? Same thing. The day juniors were appointed service chiefs, less the chief of defense staff who happens to be my mate, the next day I got to the office and I put my letter of retirement and I turned to God. I say, where is the next level? And I tell you, He has always shown me. He has not only shown me one door, He has shown me many open doors. That is what you get when you trust Him, and you trust Him wholeheartedly. I will tell you, without mincing words, the future is going to be glorious. For the people of Kogi State, and particularly the people of Kogi East. If I wasn't sure, I wouldn't have accepted to be the chairman board of trustees. It's a non-governmental organization, developmental organization. What is required in every organization is transparency. Once you are sure of what you are doing, once you have earned the trust of people and other corporate organizations, they will definitely use you as a channel of development. And we have started. We are not looking back. We want to change the narrative. And what is that narrative in Nigeria of today? A narrative of looting. A narrative of, people who do not care for those who have been entrusted in them. Leaders who care for just themselves. Those are the narrative we want to change.
Ajogu Ataigala is the title bestowed on him by His Royal Majesty Matthew Alhaji Opalwa Ataigala. What was his response when it was announced?
That is another big question. I must tell you, I would say I was ambushed. I had always prided myself as one who would never take any title, because I like working from the background. I don't like, to be praised. I don't like, to be put out there. Whatever I do, I want it to be from a very humble angle. Let my successes speak for itself. And so one of those things took me to the palace, and that was to introduce the Igala Besa Development Initiative, IBDI, which I happen to be the chairman board of trustees. And by the time we spoke to Gabaido, His Royal Majesty, and we told him our visions and expounds to him what we hope to achieve, because the IBDI is a developmental initiative that we hope will turn things around for Kogi East, and we hope it will be a model which others will copy. And so by the time we finish delivering our speech, in return, from nowhere, we were shocked when he announced the conferment. In fact, if he had his way, I would have been coronated that day. And the circumstances of his announcement was such that there's no way I could have turned it down. And that is why we are where we are today.
He's not only seen from the scope of the profession, even from home. people appreciate him. He must have been doing things that the people appreciate and love. And that's why I'm sure what do you call the ATAGUBA deemed it fit to, vest on him the title. Is it everybody that is given title? Oh, and he's not a politician. He didn't go canvassing for it or bribing for it or whatever. No. Recognition. And I feel so happy because his line was the line I was in. When I finished my service, my Eze said he must give me a title. In fact, I went into argument with him. I said, what's our title? Because I wasn't interested in any such things. He said, no, you deserve it and you should have it.
We never expected this chieftaincy title, but to whom much is given, much is expected. One thing about us human beings, we plan, but our God is a master planner. He owns everything in his hand. The book of Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5 said, even before we're conceived in our mother's womb, God knows us. And so if he knows us, he knows everything that we're going to turn out to be. And so I take it that it's the will of God, not man. And so we give glory and honor to God.
Well, in the army, they will tell you it's very, very difficult to advise a general because it's not a rank that you achieve easily, So it's very difficult to advise him as a general. But because I am myself, I'm a chief in my place, as you can see from behind. I am the Sarkin Shanu of Zuru, I am the Waziri of Sakaba, I am the Sadona of Wasagu, I am the Baura Nyawuri, and I am the Sarkin Yagi of Isgogo. So I have about 5 titles I'm carrying. It's all about patience, perseverance, and ability to delay decisions until you are well convinced that it's going to be a bit difficult to fault the position you have taken, taking all circumstances into effect. This is what makes a leader. Secondly, like I have told you, it's very difficult to advise a general, but the most important thing is that as a leader, one must be extremely cautious in his conduct and utterances, because that is the time at which every available person who is your enemy will be working 24 hours to bring you down.
For the unexpected conferment on him by His Royal Majesty, the title of Ajogwata, because I know that if he had premonition of it, that this is what ATAGUBA was doing, he would have told me. He wasn't aware. And the moment he was so pronounced in the palace, he was shocked. He called me and told me. I said, well, what did you expect? When you are fighting the battle of the Igala kingdom, what else do you expect the Royal Majesty to give you? And the title perfectly fits him. He's a soldier. He's been fighting the battle. He will continue to fight the battle. He will lead every other person's. And I'm sure I think he's the first Ajogwata of Igala kingdom that I'm aware of. Even though I come from the royal family, I'm not aware of any retired soldier or any soldier for that matter that ATAGUBA, either present or past, had conferred that title. That is significant in many respects. That means that whatever battle he was fighting silently was known to the palace. And there is no more honor you can get than to be honored by your own paramount ruler, the father of all fathers of our land. So I congratulate General ATAGUBA, I congratulate His Royal Majesty, I congratulate the Igala Kingdom, I congratulate the Nigerian people, and I congratulate the Nigerian Army in particular, that have trained him in such a disciplined manner that he's so refined that he can mingle with us.
I wasn't too surprised because I know who he is. And most times he calls me this has happened. I say, well, I'm not surprised. I know you always get the best. Or if he goes for his seminars, I say, you don't even need to say that you did perfectly well. I know. So when he said he has been given a chieftaincy title, I said, wow.
Well, I am not surprised, but I want to make a statement here that, the person of the Ata Igala is the Ata of the entire Igala people. It's a big and enormous post, enormous seat. And for the Ata to single out James for this, and what is the title? Ajogu Ata. How do you interpret it? He's the chief of army staff of the Igala people, of the Igala army, the Igala kingdom. It's a very, very demanding appointment. You can liken it to the Are or Noka Kamfu of Yoruba land, or Serikin Yaki of the Sokoto Emirate or Kano Emirate. Very massive title with massive responsibility. That James was deemed fit for this office did not come to me as a surprise, because it's like a square peg in a square hole.
General ATAGUBA, a passionate and kind-hearted gentleman, while still in the service, saw a disturbing story by community reporter on a village called Upolojogene, a community in the Kina local government area of Kogi State. Little did anyone knows he was the one behind the drilling of the borehole for the people of the community, and he also facilitated the rehabilitation of GSS Ukenya in Igala Mela Ododu local government area of Kogi State.
Well, I must appreciate you, because most times you have brought the rot in the society to the fore. When I read your story about Upolojogene, I saw students under the tree. I saw students, two, for one ramshackle stuff they call a classroom. You have two classes in one. And I told myself, how can this be? In a country where billions of naira are being stolen on a daily basis. And I said, not doing anything is not an option. Whatever it will cost me, I'll try to see how to intervene. And so I called my friend, who was a Navy captain then, now a Commodore Obaje. And I called him, I said, my brother, there's a problem. And I forwarded the story to him. And he said, Onenyi, it's only a man with a heart of stone that will sleep after seeing this. Say we will do something. And so together, the next day we'll send somebody from Ayangba first to go and verify the truth or otherwise of the story. And when the person got there, we were elated when he said, yes, they have built a school, courtesy of the Millennium Project. But that the entire village, including the school, still lacks water. And the entire village and the students go kilometers on end to fetch water. I will still ask the guy, can you get us a driller? So we got a driller, he gave us a quotation, and we commenced work. And you can imagine the joy. The day we saw the borehole bringing out water for the community, it was unbelievable. Okenya is my village. That was where I was born. It's a small village. The government built that school
It used to be a boarding school. And people we knew worked there as cooks. But the school was eventually abandoned. And the day I visited there and I saw students in classrooms without roof, and I said, God, what can I do? And so I started first by trying to see how best to cover 1 or 2 of the classrooms, because there are 2 blocks of 4 classrooms and 5 classrooms, and they have one massive hall that can sit almost 800 students at a go. So I started, and then I approached the then Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, and I told him, sir, I feel ashamed. This is where I come from. I have started something, but it's like a drop in the ocean. I will appreciate if you can assist. And as you are aware, the Army has been doing some civil military project. So he gave me some money, and then I craved from here and there to augment, and eventually the entire 9 classrooms were completely renovated. They were not only renovated, it's about the only school in that general area that had a tiled classroom. I tiled all the classrooms that can take 2 pupils at once. We made 100 of them. So it means it can sit 200 students. And this was done almost 2-3 years back. My last visit, it was amazing to see that not one single of those 200 chairs had broken, not one. And that speaks volume about the quality of work that was done. And the 800-seater hall was also renovated and tiled as well. I hope and pray that the state government will try to take over and maintain, at least maintain, what has been put in place. I have a very, very beautiful and loving wife, very tolerant and very prayerful. She was always there for me.
All through this marriage, I'd always employed the service of the Holy Spirit, like I said, who was my helper and teacher in everything. At those moments, at those tough moments, the Holy Spirit guided me in prayers. I yielded to Him in prayers and always, prayed to God to guide and protect Him. But it wasn't so easy too, coping with the inquiries from the children, because my husband had this unimpeachable connection with the children. So you can imagine how tough it was for them to cope at those moments when their father was not around. But I thank God that we were still able to navigate all this to the glory of God.
Major General James ATAGUBA and his friends will not stop at motivating and encouraging the younger ones, as his wife also added her voice.
What I will plead with the younger ones is to note that there's no shortcut in life. It might be difficult, but all that is required is patience and perseverance. They should not be carried away by the hoodlums who we have everywhere, who loot everything, who steal everything. These are people who even steal from their right pocket and put in their left pocket without knowing that the 2 pockets are theirs. There is profit in being straightforward. There is profit in enduring the pains of deprivation. I am where I am today. I didn't fall from the tree. I trekked miles when I was going to primary school. I lost my dad before I was even 10. So I knew only my mom. I grew up with my elder sister of blessed memory, Mrs. Audu, and the husband, Mr. LZ Audu. Both of them are late today. They inculcated in me the values I have today. Mr. Linus Audu retired before he was pensionable because he could not tolerate corruption in the system. And so I made it my watchword all throughout my career to steer away from anything called corruption. But here I am today. So all the youths need to do, imbibe the culture of hard work, patience, perseverance, and they will get there. Suffering may last for a night, but joy will come at the end of the day.
Thank you very much. It's unfortunate. It's fake. And the most unfortunate thing is that they go about it committing crimes. If it's out of hard work, you make money. Okay, no problem. Like I talked about James. James is into farming, doing everything to succeed. Yes. But somebody who will be cornering things, doing all manners of illegality to make money, I don't admire, I don't cherish, I don't at all see any substance in the person. But that's the in thing in the country now. Everybody, a lot of fakes. People today, they are saying A. Tomorrow, you meet them, they are talking Z. Is that how to live? And the unfortunate thing people don't think, nobody owns anything. Nobody owns anything. You're just a caretaker for a while, after which you are compelled to abandon them. And we don't learn from the lessons from other people. Wise people learn from the experiences of others. You don't wait to experience something before you know about it. Look around. The rich, we know all sorts of people. Where are they? Where are the riches? What has become of them? And besides, you are making the money for children. Which children? Which children? Who told you have children? God's property. You are making efforts to ruin them. That's why children of the big end up being nothing but a nuisance.
I think my advice to Nigerian youth is rooted in a place in Lagos called Surulere, patience. You see, they have to be patient, be hardworking. These primitive ideas of getting wealth quickly had landed so many of them into criminal activities like Yahoo. So the youth of today have so many stories to tell why they want to make it quickly. So they must be patient, work hard, be focused, be committed, don't cut corner, be a straightforward, integrity-driven person. And there is no one that is the light of a society that will not be noticed. Let the youth be the light to quench the darkness of frustration, darkness of unemployment, because you can be employer of yourself. I believe in the philosophy that whatever you do not have now, God knows that you don't have a need of it. Whatever you have, be contented with it.
So the youth to know that with hard work, like I said, General ATAGUBA is a workaholic. He's a very active person. is what the youth, they can see, learn from him, that from your humble background, they can get to the peak, you can get to any level. If you are hardworking, if you are patient and hardworking, know that you must sow before you reap.
For the young ones, what I will always say, just like my mom told me, my late mom, may her soul rest in peace. One thing she told me was, when I want to get married, I should remember to wear the garment of patience. Patience is needed for every marriage to be a huge success. I want to advise the young ones to wear the garment of patience and perseverance, and also to be faithful in their marriage, and also to always seek the help of God in everything that they do, especially in their married life. And I tell you, your home will be peaceful, your home will be blessed.
Decorations. Past Senior Staff Course, PSC, Fellow Defense College, FDC, Forces Service Stars, FSS, Meritorious Service Star, MSS, Masters of Administration Science, MAS, Distinguished Service Star, DSS, General Service Star, GSS, General Staff Medal of Honor, GSMH, ECOWAS Monitoring Group Medal, UNIMIL Medal, UN Medal, Command Medal, Field Command Medal.